Vigauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So we carry on from the text 34 onwards to the end of the chapter today. Okay. Yes, am I right here? Yes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet. Nasta Priyeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Nishtiki. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So, okay, we read the text 34. Rishaya Uchu Jitam Jitang Te Jitayagya Bhavana Trayim Tanum Sambaridunvate Mana Yadroma Gharte Shanilin Yuru Adhyos Tasmai Namahakarana Shukharayate. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable and joy of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons, to uplift the earth, you have now assumed the form of a boar. This verse we covered, and we said that the Lord's body was gigantic, as he played in the sky, and the holes where the hair comes out from, actually they were huge enough to hold oceans. So the Lord can assume any form he likes, and all circumstances is the cause of all causes. Since his form is transcendental, he is always a supreme personality of Godhead, as he is in the causal ocean in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes generate from the holes of his bodily hair, and his transcendental body is a Vedas personified. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and he is the unconquerable supreme Lord, personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the supreme Lord, because of his assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Lord Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary systems. So as appropriate, the Lord takes various forms. Right, when he has to save the Vedas and from the deluge, right, at the end of Brahma's day, then Satyavrat Muni was there, so he actually saved Satyavrat, and he also saved the Vedas, but he took the form of a fish. When he had to fulfill the prophecies of Lord Brahma and still find a loophole to kill Hiranyakashipu, he couldn't take the form of a man or an animal, of an object, or of a living being. He couldn't use weapons, and he couldn't use anything that's living or dead. So he created out of his imagination, his deep, fathomless intelligence, he created a body which is out of his transcendental energy, which is neither man nor woman, nor animal, and so on. And he created Lord Nrsingadev. So he became a big fish to save the Vedas and Satyavrat Muni from drowning. He became a big fish. And to give support for the Mandara mountain, so that the mountain doesn't keep sinking down to the ocean, so that proper churning can be done, he took the form of Kurma. Kurma means he had a hard shell back, like a tortoise. And the mountain, and he's so gigantic that the mountain can sit on it. And when they were actually churning the ocean by using the mountain as a rod, he was so big that the rubbing of the mountain on top of his back gave him an itching sensation. So these are, very fabulous and transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So he can appear in any form he wants. So here he is appearing in the form of a boar because he has to dive into the mud and go and get Mother Earth out of her predicament. So he actually came in the form of a boar. So text 35. Rupam Davaitam Tanuduskritatmanam Dushdarshanam Deva Yadadvat Ratmakam Chandangse Yasya Tvachi Bariro Mashwaha Ajang Drishti Tva Anigrishu Chaturotram. So, O Lord, your form is worshipable by performance of sacrifice. But souls who are simply miscreants are unable to see it. All the Vedic hymns, Gayatri Mantra and others are in the touch of your skin, in your bodily hairs, in the kusha grass, in your eyes, in the clarified butter, and in your forelegs are the 4 cans of fruitive activities. Yes? So very sweet reading. So all the Vedic hymns, Gayatri and others are in touch of your skin. So we read that last time, but yeah, you're gone. Yes, yes, Salika, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, as you were describing the Lord's pastimes, and then the reason why he had to take the form of a boa to save Mother Earth from her predicament. I know the Lord's primary purpose, according to the statement in the Bhagavad Gita, is yada yada idamasya, whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious principles. And then he comes to reestablish religion and give pleasure to the devotees. So I'm trying to wonder why the Lord has to go through all of this drama, the kind of activities, because Mother Earth falling into the mud, it wasn't outside of the Lord's knowledge. And then him asked me to take all of these efforts to go to take a particular form just to be able to save Mother Earth. These are all miseries, and that is what the Lord's pastime is anyway. But I wanted to give some clarity because I'm trying to wonder why the Lord will go to all of these activities just to when he can do this just without having to go through all of these scenarios that we experience. So why did Lord have to go through?
Yeah, there's 2-pronged answer to that. The first thing is material nature is always going to be imperfect. Material nature is always going to have issues, and therefore there's someone to maintain it. Whereas the spiritual energy is self-maintaining, self-sustaining. Material energy needs a supervisor, needs a maintainer, sustainer, and this is Lord Vishnu. So then when material nature does actually have problems, then the Lord comes, you see, otherwise the spiritual energies, there's no creation, there's no destruction. And also there is no maintenance required because it is self-maintaining, it is self-lubricating, it is self-repairing because there is no damage. Spiritual energy doesn't have anything. So the first thing is the nature of material world is such that there is degradation. So therefore, because of degradation, there's maintenance required. So the Lord comes as Lord Vishnu to maintain. Right? That's that. And the material nature is like yantra rudrani maya. It's like a machine. Didn't he say? Yantra rudrani maya. It's like a machine. So machine requires repairs and maintenance because it goes off balance. It goes this and that. And the second thing is, these things doesn't happen without the knowledge of the Lord. It does happen with the knowledge of the Lord. And the Lord, because the Lord is why? Because the Lord is Swarat, you know. If you connect the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam to everything, the Lord is fully cognizant. So to say that, why didn't he, to kind of assume that, why didn't he stop the earth falling to begin with? Because if he knew, he knows, because he is minutely aware of everything that's going on. He knows. So therefore, what he does, he uses the opportunity for rescuing material nature from its, sort of deprecating properties, to actually perform his wonderful pastimes. So this is his pastimes in the material world. His pastimes in the material world is very much a merciful pastime, a pastime of compassion, mercy, and also, like you said, to make this drama. But the main motion behind the drama, the main, motive and motion behind the drama is to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. There's two things. Material nature is a yantra. It is bound to, something's going to happen. Because the nature of the modes are like that. Modes always going up and down. So something that is right will become wrong. And therefore the Lord, as a maintainer and sustainer of everything in the material world, he comes in as Lord Vishnu, all-pervading maintainer. And sometimes he comes in person. Sometimes he allows adjustments. But material nature also adjusts sometimes. And sometimes when things are a little bit dire and the demigods cannot handle it. Say, for example, there are drought in certain area. Then the demigods can handle it. They can sometimes cause rain. Is proliferation of too much trees, then they can arrange for fire. So then the trees can be reduced, like you see that in 4th canto. So they can do certain things because they are administrative managers. But if there are powers beyond the demigod's control, such as huge demons who comes and disrupt the running of that machine called the yantra, the material nature, then the Lord steps in. Makes sense, I think. No? Yeah? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay. So text 36. So here what we are describing is 35 describes the Lord's skin, his Vedic hymns. So let me just, I will send you this. I'll take 2 pictures right now and I'll send you this because I don't think I can. Ready? Yeah. Okay. So there you have 2 pictures. And these 2 pictures are showing verse 35, 36, then 37 and 38. First picture He's showing 35, 36, and 37, 38 in the second picture. So it's a summary, okay? It's a summary in each of the 4 verses. In the 35, the skin is like Vedic hymns, the bodily hairs are like pusha grass, the eyes like ghee, the 4 legs or the 4 actions of Hota, Ardhya, Udgata, Brahmana, Chaturhotram. Okay.
Please, Prabhu, we are not seeing the pictures. So.
It's on your WhatsApp page, WhatsApp, group WhatsApp.
Okay.
Okay, then the 36, the text 36 describes, right, the tongue of the Lord, which is like a sacrificial ladle, the nostrils like a ghee ladle, shuva, the belly of the Lord is like the ida, the vessel, and you have it, okay, and the ears are like the container, the mouth like prashitra vessel. So, and the throat like the soma plates, and the chewing is our sacrifice, which is Agnihotram, the pouring of the ghee into the fire. Okay. But Prabhupada, in the purport of this text 36, he talks about the Sankirtan Yagya. In this age of Kali, there is a stricture regarding such sacrifice. It is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yagya and nothing more. Why? Because the description of the sacrifices are very precise, requirements are very stringent. So Prabhupada is saying there is a strict regulations required to be followed, and therefore these sacrifices are very hard to perform. Therefore, the Sankirtan Yagya and nothing more. And in the purport in the middle, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord is Yagnesha. And unless one has respect for the incarnation of the Lord, he cannot perfectly perform sacrifice. In other words, taking shelter of the Lord and rendering service unto him is the actual performance of all sacrifices. Okay? Different plates of sacrifice correspond to the different parts of the body of the Lord's incarnation. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, it is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yagya to praise the Lord's incarnation. Ashri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This should be rigidly followed. So we are actually very fortunate. That's why this Kali is considered Dhanya Kali, that very fortunate Kali. Because in this age, you know, we're not required comparatively, like in the age that is being described here, where these things are happening, which is in the Swayambhuva Kalpa, and the Manvantara of Swayambhuva is there, and everything is being set into motion for the progress and population of society by Lord Brahma. And these yagyas are very complex. And the yagyas are very complex. So why is the Lord's different bodily parts are being described as yagya? Because Lord Varaha body is a form of sacrifice. It's advarvatmakam. And he's also the pati, the husband of Dhriti, of Mother Earth. So being Mother Earth's husband or protector or savior, all sacrifices done on planet Earth using all ingredients that is available for Mother Earth are actually for the purpose of satisfying Lord Varahadev, as in incarnation of Lord Vishnu here. Okay, so in text 37, he says, repeated appearances mean Diksha sacrifice, initiation. Because why is he said it is repeated? Let's read the translation. The Lord, the repetition of your appearance is a desire for all kinds of initiation. Your neck is a place for free desires. And your tusk are the result of initiation and the end of all desires. Your tongue is a prior activities of initiation. Your head is a fire without sacrifice as well as a fire of worship. And your living forces are the aggregate of all desires. So in this verse, the verse 37, this is talking about Diksha initiation, Diksha sacrifice. Prabhupada talks about it as Diksha sacrifice here. So what he's saying, that the repeated appearances, your repeated appearances, which means that the Lord is being seen and then he hides and then he's seen again and comes again. So it's like sometimes, the jivas, they go through repeated initiation in the material world, right? Your spiritual master, if you're making progress in spiritual life now, then in next life, say for example, things haven't worked out properly, and then we're taken birth again in another devotee family with other circumstances, then we will go again to the process of Diksha. If you are born again in a ISKCON family next life, they will not come and say, oh, Rasavan was initiated and this boy is Rasavan's new body, so he's not going to take initiation. He's going to take repeated initiation. Yeah. So then you'll have a new guru who will be a representative of your first guru. Guru is one. So your spiritual master who started, he will maybe he will come himself, or maybe he will send others on his behalf to officiate and reconnect you to the process, so you carry on performing your divine seva to be able to get back to Godhead. So this talks about repeated initiation, repeated appearances, Diksha sacrifice. Okay. So then task is praniyanam, prayaniya, sacrifice after initiation. And the neck is upasadha, free desires, relationship, activities, and ultimate goal. The neck of the Lord represent the free jnana of free desires, which is what? Relationship, activities, and ultimate goal. What are the Sanskrit word for these? When after you have started spiritual life, or by starting spiritual life, there's 3 steps. First one is called Sambandha Gyan, which is which is relationship, establishing relationship. Upasadha, free desires. First is relationship. Then once Sambandha, relationship, an understanding of what kind of relationship with the Supreme Lord we want. Servant and master, and he is the Supreme Lord and we have to serve him. Then that is established. That is understood. Then the second one is Abhideya, which is described here as activities, which is the procedure, which is the different rules and regulations, which is the different activities in devotional service, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So that's why they are considered sacrifice after initiation. So we carry on hearing, chanting, worshipping the Lord, doing the seva, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, remembering. And these activities are called the activities in devotional service called Abhideya. And what is the ultimate goal?
Krishna. Bhakti.
Yes. Yes. What is it
Prayogya.
described? Prayojana. Prayojana. Mhm. So here is described that these three, Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana are being presented. So every Vedic literature has Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Every act of spiritual practice has Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. First, we establish our relationship. My Lord, we want to do this because of such reasons. And then this is how we're going to be doing it. We're going to be doing such and such actions and activities. And then the goal is prayojana, which is love of God. And we want to attain your lotus feet. So please be quite aware about this. And in Vrindavan, in Braja Lila, in Vrindavan Dham pastime, and for the devotees' engagement in Braj, there are three specific temples and three specific deities who are supervising our three-step process of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Can anyone talk about this? Bolo? Anyone?
Interesting. Prabhu, tell us.
Radha Madan Mohan is Sambandha Gyan deity. Radha Govinda Ji is Abhideya Gyana deity. And Radha Gopinath is Prayojana Gyana deity. Now, how come you haven't noticed this? This is in our Mangalacharan prayers. Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandamatir Gati. Oh my dear Lord, I am lame and I'm blind. And I'm a fool. Matsarvasa Padangojo Radha Madana Mohanu. So establish my relationship. And then Abhideya is where you're actually sitting Radha and Krishna on the golden throne and you're doing the worship. This is the process. Every process of devotional service is ultimately come to the point of sitting Radha Govinda under the Rasasthali in a golden throne and offering them all various kinds of worship to attain their love. And then when we attain their love, then that love is Prayojan Gyan, which is Siman Rasa Rasarambhi Vangsivata Tatastita Karshan Venu Swaner Gopir Gopinath Syastundaha. So go back to the prayers in the prayers for Radha Madan Mohan. Is called Sambandha Gyan Adi Deva, isn't it? Isn't it written there? You have your songbook? Huh?
Yeah.
Yes. And then when we worship Radha Govinda Ji, Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karshan Venus Swaner Gopir Gopinath Hayashistuna. Huh? No, that is gosh. Shriman Govinda Dev is a different prayer. Divyad Vrindaranya, Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada, Srimad Ratnagara, Singhasanastu, Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prestadibya Sevya Manusmarani. So these three prayers are in your Mangalacharan prayers in the beginning of the book. When you chant Mangalacharan prayers fully, these three are there. So those who do yagyas, they know. First we worship Radha Madan Mohan and pray for establishing our relationship, Sambandha. And then we pray to Radha Govinda Ji for encouraging us to walk first we establish our first step in Vrindavan by Sambandha, by the mercy of Radha Madan Mohan. Then we start to walk, taking baby steps in our devotional activities for the worship of Radha Govinda Ji under the auspices of Radha Govinda Ji. So he is a Abhideya Jnana deity, a deity that actually helps us to perform devotional service in Braj. And then we get the result of this.
Which of the Mangala prayer, Prabhu? Which of the prayer you refer?
Just Mangalacharan prayers, just full Mangalacharan prayers in songbook. Yeah. In your songbook, then you chant all the Guru Pranam prayer. I don't have a songbook here. You chant all the
one we use for fast sacrifice.
Yes. What else? Yes.
Okay. I'm sharing here, Prabhu. I want to capture this. Is this the prayer you're talking about, Prabhu?
Yes. Go down.
Then,
Yes.
Yeah, go down. These are prayers to the Guru Parampara. Go down.
Okay.
Go down. This is prayer to Gorkishore Das Babaji, then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then Jagannath Das Babaji, then go down, then all the Vaishnavas. Now, then to Mahaprabhu, here way, Namo Mahavadanyaya, then to Panchatattva, go down. Right? Go down further.
They are on the next page.
Yeah, on the other page. On the right hand side, you went too far, right?
Yes, on the right hand side, yes.
Go up. Go up. Yeah, on the right hand side. Okay. Move it. Right. Now go up a bit. Right.
You see,
you see now? Go up a bit more. Just a little bit more. Okay, wait. You see Sambandha Adidev Pranam. So that wait. The Sambandha Adidev Pranam is there. Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandamatir Gati. Glory to all merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors. So they direct you into your relationship with the Supreme Lord, and their lotus feet are everything to me. So you establish you being a servant of the lotus feet of Radha Madan Mohan. This is Sambandha. So who is in charge of this, giving you this Sambandha Pranam, Sambandha Gyan?
Radha Madan Mohan.
Yeah. So this is Sambandha Adideva Gyan. Wait. This is called the Sambandha Adideva Gyan mantra or pranam. Okay, whatever. Sambandha Adidev Gyan. This gives the knowledge of. Now the next one, don't move. Abhideya Adideva Gyan Pranam, which is Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastu Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prestalibhisebhya Manusmarami. So now that you've started your lotus feet or everything to me, you established your sambandha of servant and master. Then in the process of worship, this is the epitome or the culmination of worship. In a temple of jewels in Vrindavan, underneath a desire tree, Sri Radha Govinda, served by the most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my most humble obeisances to them. So in your heart, if you can capture the mood of service that you are sitting down, Radha and Govinda Ji under the Rasasthali in Radha Govinda Mandir, or on a golden throne, Srimad Ratnagara, Singhasana, the golden throne. This description is not very good, this translation.
Okay. This is Shupati.
Yes, they are sitting under Kalpataru. Then Srimad Ratnagara, Singhasana under golden effulgent, golden throne, Singhasanastu. And then Srimad Radha and Shila Govinda. I worship them. Shila Govinda Deva, Prestalivi, Sevya Manu. It's service also, not just obeisances unto them. I offer my obeisances unto them. So go up. Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsi Vatatastito. Shila Gopinath. Huh? Who originated the transcendental. Soner Gopir Gopinath Hayashista. Srishila Gopinath, who originated the transcendental mellow of the rasa dance, stands on the shore of Vamsivat and attracts the attention of the Kahoi damsel with the sound of his celebrated flute. May they all confer upon us their benediction, which is love of Radha and Krishna, which is a goal. So this knowledge of Prayojan Adide, Prayojan Gyan, this knowledge of pure love of God is given by Radha Gopinath. Therefore, this Goswamis established these 3 temples first in Vrindavan. First, Sanatan Goswami established Sambandha Mandir, Radha Madan Mohan, then Radha Gopinath, Govinda Dev Mandir, Radha Govinda Dev Mandir was established by Rupa Goswami. And this Radha Gopinath Mandir was established by Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, or I forgot who really. So there. So here, you see, you can always refer this in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. When we talk about Sambandha, that's what our mind should always go back to, Radha Madan Mohan. When we talk about the Videya, our mind should always go back to Radha Govindaji. And when we talk about Prayojana, it is Radha Gopinath. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
So text 37. So it is very deep in a way. And the Lord's task is Prayaniya, sacrifice after initiation. And Udayaniya, final sacrifice, end of all sacrifice desires. So, you know, it's like you end all your desires after full initiation, which is Prabhupada talks about something in here. Let me see, 37. I don't want to speculate too much. Prabhupada doesn't say much here. Your tongue is for activities of initiation. Let me just see what I haven't got a mouse. Just wait a minute. Let me see what our Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says about this. Okay. So this is 113.37. Okay, Hare Krishna. Can you let me share?
Sorry, you can share, Prabhuji. Go ahead and share.
There's something I missed in the purport which I didn't read in 35. I'm noticing it here. In 35, in the purport, they describe worship of the different forms of incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. It's here. You see it? They describe worship of the different forms of the incarnations of the Lord as anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism means a combination of 2 forms, human and animal. So sometimes in different, in religious scriptures, in the cult, in the Christian cult, they were worshipping different deities who were created of half man or half animal form. This is called anthropomorphism, right? And complete worship of animals is called zoomorphism, or zoomorphism. Prabhupada talks about that here. Anyway, so I'm going down to text 36. Okay.
37.
And 37. Okay, let me just read here. Okay, so actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur spoken quite a bit here. Prabhupada also has spoken a little bit. No, Prabhupada didn't give any purport. So let us read this purport. Diksha sacrifice arose from your many appearance. Prabhupada put that in the translation, yes. Upashada sacrifice arose from your neck. Then these other sacrifice arose from your teeth, from your tusks. Prabhupada used teeth here, but it's tusk. The Pravargya rites arose from your tongue. The Satya and Avastya sacrifice constituting Kratu. So Prabhupada has translated these things. And the piling of bricks arose from your 5 life hairs. So Diksha refers to sacrifice requiring special initiation. Anun Janma is repeated appearance. The Upashada, free special sacrifice, arose from your neck, Shiro Dharam, etc. They arose from your teeth. Yeah, okay, there's not much. Okay, let's move on. At least some essential points been gleaned from there. So 38. Oh Lord, your semen is a sacrifice called Soma Yagya. Your growth is a ritualistic performance of the morning. Your skin and touch sensations are the 7 elements of the Agnishtoma sacrifice. Your bodily joints are symbols of various other sacrifices performed in 12 days. Therefore, you are the object of all sacrifices called Soma Asoma, and you are bound by Yagyas only. That is only way we can actually bind the Lord into our heart is by Yagya. Okay. So in the purport in text 38, Prabhupada talks about the 7 kinds of routine yagyas performed by all followers of Vedic rituals, and they call Agnishtoma, Atyagnishtoma, Utta Shodashi, Vajpeya, and Aptoromya. Anyone performing such yagyas regularly is supposed to be situated with the Lord. But anyone who is in contact with the Supreme Lord by discharging devotional service understood to have performed all different varieties of yagya. So these Vedic rituals are required by those who are performing ritualistic activities to get the Supreme Lord as requirement for them. But those who are engaged in devotional service, they're already enjoying the result of having performed these rituals. So text 39. So here they end the description of the different elements, sacrifices at different parts of the body. So text 38, you are the object of all the Soma and Asoma sacrifices. So that we also understood. Now 39. Namo namaste khila mantra devata davyaya sarva kratave kriyatmane vairagya bhaktyatmacha majaya anubhavito jnanaya vidya gurave namo namaha. O Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are worshipable by universal prayers. Vedic hymns and sacrificial ingredients, we offer our obeisances unto you. You can be realized by the pure mind, free from all visible and invisible material contamination. We offer our respectful obeisances to you. as the supreme spiritual master of knowledge in devotional service. Okay, someone can read the purport for me?
Okay, I read that.
39.
The qualities of Bhakti or devotional service to the Lord is that the devotee should be free from all material contaminations and desires. This freedom is called Vairagya, or renouncement of material desires. One who engages in devotional service to the Lord according to regulative principles is automatically freed from material desires. And in that pure state of mind, one can realize the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, instructs the devotee regarding pure devotional service so that he may ultimately achieve the association of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:10 as follows. Tisham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti puvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yina mam upayantite. The one who constantly engages in the devotional service of the Lord with faith and love, the Lord certainly gives the intelligence to achieve him at the ultimate end. One has to conquer the mind, and one may do it by following the very rituals and by performing different types of sacrifices. The ultimate end of all those performances is to attain Bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord. Without Bhakti, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original personality of Godhead, or his innumerable expansions of Vishnu are the only objects of worship by all the very rituals and sacrificial performances. Hare Krishna.
So whether it is Vedic rituals, or whether it is Ashtanga Yoga, or whether it is Jnana Yoga, one has to first conquer the mind and purify the mind. And then by doing that, then one can offer all activities as devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. And then with that bhakti, with that devotional service, we can understand and surrender to the Supreme Lord. We have a Sambandha Gyan properly established. So the idea of these ritualistic sacrifices, the different homas and yagyas, is non-different. But performing ritualistic activities is harder, because when you perform spiritual activity, when you perform ritualistic activities to satisfy the Lord, then there's kind of a mechanical process also, and all the ingredients have to be properly purified. They have to be obtained by the proper rituals, and homa, the sacrificial arena, has to be arranged properly. Time, place has to be perfect, and the priests have to be qualified. And there are also tests required to see whether the sacrifice are being properly performed and it is successful, which is where the animal sacrifice comes in, which is basically the yajna is successful, then the animal sacrificed at the yajna will be seen to obtain a new body. They were not animal sacrifices for the sake of animal sacrifices. The animal sacrifices were to test the efficiency of the yajnas. So these ritualistic sacrifices are very difficult, very difficult. And if you're performing ritualistic sacrifices also, when they, by some measure, the sacrifices are not successful, then you have some setbacks, then you suffer some consequences. So by performance of Vedic rituals, to actually obtain devotion to the Supreme Lord is considered very, very difficult. And also similarly, this is called karmakanda activities. And similarly, to please the Lord by Ashtanga Yoga is also a tough process. Then Jnana, after many, many births, a jnani may come to understand and realize Bahunam Janmana Mante, Jnanavan Mam Padyate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. A jnani can come to the understanding. It's very difficult also. And for the jnani to attain success is difficult. And in that verse I just quoted, Bahunam Janmana Mante is the transformation of a jnani into a bhakta, where he understands Krishna. Now the transformation of a devotee, transformation of a ritualistic person who is performing karma mimamsa is also very difficult. He can only be transformed from his process of ritual by the mercy of a pure Brahmana or a pure devotee. Like we will see that Maharaj Prachinabarishat was very much inclined to performing Vedic rituals in 4th canto. And he was continually performing Vedic rituals one after the other. And Lord Narad Muni came and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Because I can guarantee prosperity by performing rituals regularly." He said, "But what if the rituals are not properly done? Then you'll get problems. The Lord cannot be satisfied by these rituals." So then the Lord instructed him to perform devotional service. So if someone is involved into Vedic rituals, then only by the mercy of a pure devotee he can transfer to bhakti. If someone is into jnana, after many, many births, he may realize Vasudeva as the Supreme Lord, then he can transfer to bhakti. And if someone is performing yoga, also is very difficult. I will quote you a verse for one who can actually from yoga come to bhakti is also difficult, the transformation. And that's the verse 35. 45 in. It says, "And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contamination, and ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal," which is chapter 6, text 45. Prayatnat. So you see, for all these processes, very, very difficult. So that's why the Sankirtan Yagya is considered very wonderful for us. Very wonderful for us. So text 40, "O lifter of the earth with its mountains, which you have lifted with your tusk, is situated as beautifully as a lotus flower, we believe, sustained by an infuriated elephant just coming out of water." So the earth has all, you're imagining the earth as a round globe, but the earth has all its mountains and rivers and trees and plants and so many things. And they were all lifted with the tusk of Lord Varaha. And it's situated as beautifully as a lotus flower with leaves sustained by an infuriated elephant. Just coming out of water. Sometimes an elephant can pick up a lotus flower, just like Gajendra did, and it looks very beautiful. So Mother Earth being situated on the tusk of Lord Varaha looked similarly very beautiful. So text 41, "O Lord, as the peaks of great mountains become beautiful when decorated with clouds, your transcendental body has becoming beautiful because of your lifting the earth on the edge of your tusks." So this very merciful, compassionate activity of the Lord, pastime of the Lord, it made him very glorious and very beautiful. In the purport, let's read, the word Vibhrama is significant. Vibhrama means illusion as well as beauty. When a cloud rests on the peak of a great mountain, it appears to be sustained by the mountain. And at the same time, it looks very beautiful. Similarly, the Lord has no need to sustain the earth on his task. But when he does so, the world becomes beautiful, just as the Lord becomes more beautiful because of his pure devotees on the earth. So, the Lord is glorified and he becomes more beautiful when he's surrounded by his devotees. And similarly, the earth looked more beautiful being held up by Lord Varaha's tusk. So although the Lord is transcendental personification of the Vedic hymns, he has become more beautiful because of his appearance to sustain the earth. So Lord Varaha's glorification is continuing. So here, everything that he's done in regard to Mother Earth has made him more beautiful, holding him up, coming in contact with her, and so on. Now text 42. O Lord, for the residential purposes of all inhabitants, both moving and non-moving, this earth is your wife, and you are the Supreme Father. So the earth is maintainer by giving produce and by allowing everything to rest upon her surface. So she is a very tolerant mother. And therefore, as you are the Supreme Father, she is the wife of yours. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency. So because of the touch of the intimate hugging and holding of Mother Earth, she's become his consort. And actually, an individual is born out of that. No? There is Narakasur is born out of Lord Varaha's touch of Mother Earth. We will read that some other time. So we offer our respectful obeisance unto you along with Mother Earth, in whom you have invested your own potency. Just as an expert sacrificer puts fire in the Arani wood. The Arani wood is a special wood that is used to light fires in sacrifices without using a match. So there's special brahmanas who call upon the fire to appear in the Arani wood from mantras. So they have to have certain kind of expertise to be able to do that. So similarly, you have invested your spiritual energy into Mother Earth in a very expert way. Any questions or comments? So in this purport is very interesting. The so-called law of gravitation which sustains the planet is described herein as a potency of the Lord. So the potency invested by the Lord, in which the way an expert sacrificial brahmana puts fire in the Arani wood by potency of Vedic mantras. By this arrangement, the world becomes habitable for both the. So the Lord has invested his gravitational Shakti, the gravitational force by which the planets are maintained, is actually done by the touch of the Lord. So each of the different planets are energized to stay in circuit in a certain distance from other planets by the force of gravitation. And those who studied a little bit of physics, they know that the planets and the different grahas, they are moving in orbit that is predestined by the Supreme Lord. And the gravitational force of their movement is massive. The sun is moving at a phenomenal rate. Phenomenal rate. It's, you cannot imagine the speed of rotation of the sun. Bigger is more than the speed of light. So the sun is not just like station, it's zooming. Even faster than what I've just described. Okay, we will see that later. So So all the planets also moving at excessive speed, but they are maintained by the energy of the Lord. So here Lord Varaha has infused the gravitational energy into Mother Earth so she can stay. And therefore, the arrangement in the world becomes habitable for moving and non-moving creatures. Because the conditioned souls, reading the purport again, the conditioned souls who are residents of the material world are put in the womb of Mother Earth in the same way the seed of a child is put by the father in the womb of the mother. Right? This conception of the Lord and the earth as father and mother is explained in Gita 14.4. So how is it explained? This is the famous verse 14.4. Sarva yonishu kondeya murthaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahadyoni aham bija pradakya. Should be understood that all species of life, Bhagavad Gita 14.4, O son of Kunti, are made possible. So all species of life made possible, they take birth in the material nature, which is the womb. Right? So Sarva Yonishu Konteya, all species of life, all species of life, all forms, Murtaya, all species and all forms of life. They appear, Sambhavantiya. How? Tasam, and all of them, they appear, and I am the source of their birth in the material substance. So it says, Murtaya Sambhavantiya, Tasham Brahma Mahadyonir. I am the source of their birth, Tasam Brahma. How? In the yoni, in the womb of the Prakriti, in the material nature. And Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the seed-giving father. So all forms of life takes their body from earth. Whether you plant a tree or whether you have the birth of an animal, the energy from the mother is coming from different eatables that the animal eats from plants and seeds and fruits that are grown on the surface of Mother Earth. And the Supreme Father is the Jiva, he is a provider of the seed, which is a Jiva. So he says, Sir, so please remember text 14.4 of the Gita, Sarva Yonishu Konteya Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradapita. I'm the seed-giving father. So conditioned souls are devoted to the motherland in which they take their birth, but they do not know their father. So the earth is our motherland because the sustenance for our body is obtained from her. Earth is providing the eatables and the foods for sustenance and everything. But who is the father? Not known. People don't know that God is our seed-giving father because he produced the seeds, just like the father injects the seed in the womb of his wife. So similarly, in the womb of Prakriti, all varieties of creations are coming to life because the Lord is a seed giver. Any questions on this? (43) Who else but you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could deliver the earth from within the water? It is not very wonderful for you. However, because you acted most wonderfully in the creation of the universe, by your energy, you have created this wonderful cosmic manifestation. The Lord has already created the wonderful cosmic manifestation. So to pick up one planet Earth from some distress situation is not so great for him, but he does it in a wonderful way, creating beautiful energy and beautiful pastime so that the jiva can be attracted to this. Someone can read the purport. (43)
Hare Krishna. When a scientist discovers something impressive to the ignorant mass of the people. The common man, without inquiry, accepts such a discovery as wonderful. But an intelligent man is not struck with wonder by such discoveries. He gives all credit to the person who created the wonderful brain of the scientist. The common man is also struck with wonder by the wonderful action of material nature, and he gives all credit to the cosmic manifestation. The learned Krishna conscious person, however, knows well that behind the cosmic manifestation, there is the brain of Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad 9:10. Maya Jatshina Prakti Suyate Chara Arachana Charam. Since Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation, it is not at all wonderful for him to assume the gigantic form of a boa and thus deliver the earth from the mare of the water. The devotee is therefore not astonished to see the wonderful boa because he knows that the Lord is able to act far more wonderfully by potencies which are inconceivable to the brain of even the most erudite scientists. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestations working under his direction. Maya idam tatam sarvam jagat avartinam jagat avyakta murtina. Text chapter 9, text 4. So Krishna can direct the wonderful cosmic manifestation. So he's doing that, and Krishna is the brain behind the cosmic manifestation. Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena konteya jagadvi parivartate. This material nature, which is this verse, this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. It is one of his energies. O son of Kunti, and producing all moving and non-moving objects, beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created, annihilated again and again. So this manifestation that is created and destroyed by the Supreme Lord is done by the Supreme Lord himself, under his leadership. And the energy for creation of this material world is just one of his energies. There are so many other energies. So therefore, for the devotee to understand a Lord, Varaha appears in the form of a wild boar and do this. It's just wonderful. He has no difficulty in accepting this, though it may look very wonderful or not so easily understandable. But the devotee can understand because everything else is working under the direction of the Lord. So any questions or comments? Text 44 otherwise. Everyone is awake? O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapa and Satya Loka, but still we have been purified. Why is this coming here? Can someone tell me? O Supreme Lord, undoubtedly we are inhabitants of the most pious planets. Who is speaking like this? This is prayers by the sages. The sages are speaking like this. This whole section is, which we are doing today, 34, and now we've reached text 44. These are all prayers by the sages unto Lord Varaha. So again, O Supreme Lord, which means the sages are saying, undoubtedly, we are inhabitants of the most pious planets. We are inhabitants of Jana, Tapa, and Satya Loka. Okay, so let's look at the purport, at the text first. Let's look at the text. Okay, so Vidamayam Nijam Vapur Janaha Tapa Satya Nivasino Vayam. So Jana, Tapa, and Satya. So Jana Lok, Tapa Lok, and Satya Lok consider the free. The rishis are saying these free here. So, O Supreme Lord, Undoubtedly, we are inhabitants of the most pious planets, the Jana, Tapa, and Satyalok. These are the sages from these 3 planets speaking. But still, we have been purified by the drops of water sprinkled from your shoulder hair by the shaking. So the animal shakes the body, and then the hair has droplets of water, and it's sprinkled all over. So it was such a gigantic body of Lord Varaha that the water from the body of Lord Varaha was sprinkled over these 3 higher planetary systems.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
My question is, each time we mention Jana, Tapas, and Satya Lokas, we don't mention Brahma Loka, or at this planet,
Satya Loka is Brahma Loka. Satya Loka is Brahma Loka.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
So the inhabitants of the Jana, ordinarily the body of a hog is considered impure. I'm reading the purport. When one should not consider that the hog incarnation assumed by the Lord is also impure. That form of the Lord is a personified Vedas and is transcendental. The inhabitants of the Jana, Tapa, Satya Loka are the most pious persons in the material world. But because those planets are situated in the material world, there are so many material impurities there also. So you see, even though they are such perfected planets, we perfected beings, very high caliber personalities, great knowledgeable intellectuals, Gyanis in Janalok, and great tapasvis, or people with high level of austerities in Tapalok, and people who are austere and as good as Lord Brahma inhabiting his planet, Satyalok. But it's still, Prabhupada is saying there's so many material impurities there also. Why? Because he's saying, therefore, the drops of water, which is like Charanamrita from the body of Lord Varaha, sprinkled over them, is considered very auspicious. They felt purified. So when Lord Varaha was shaking his body and the water was going over the 3 upper planetary systems, they felt that, oh, we are being purified. Then Prabhupada talks about the Ganges. The Ganges water is pure because of its emanation from the toe of the Lord. And there is no difference between the water emanating from the toe of the Lord and that from the tips of the hair on the shoulder of Lord Bo. So these 2 waters, the water that sprinkled the upper planetary systems from the body of Lord Varaha, is like Ganges water. Okay. Oh Lord, there is no limit of your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your wonderful activities is certainly nonsensical. So the Lord's activities are unlimited. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. The Lord is Ananta, is unlimited, and so his pastimes are unlimited. Oh Lord, there's no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities, that's nonsense. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your causeless mercy. So the rishis are praying for the Lord's causeless mercy. So from Janalok, Tapalok, and Satyalok, they are far more intelligent and powerful than human beings, and they still want the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Okay? So now, this description has been happening between Maitreya and Vidura. And they are narrating these pastimes. Maitreya is narrating it to Vidura, and is mentioning what he has heard the sages speak. He understood the sages speak. So these are called the Sangati verses. These are the Sangati verses. So when Maitreya says something here, he's adding on to the narrative of the real prayers of Lord Varaha. So you see that it brings everything back into context. So to bring everything back into context, you know, you have these Sangati verses over and over again appearing all the time in the different scriptures. So now you'll see that this is added on. Maitreya is speaking. Okay. So it is like one episode where the rishis are praying to Lord Varaha. And now Vyasadeva add another verse where Maitreya is speaking to. So it lays the context, right? So it connects the different leelas, the different episodes. And sometimes they clarify the meaning and sometimes they lay the context. So here it is a context again. The sage is saying something interesting. The sage Maitreya said, the Lord being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists, touched the earth with his hoofs and placed it on the water. So he concludes this episode of description and prayers of the sages. So Maitreya is adding a point. He said, the Lord being thus worshipped by all the great sages and transcendentalists, touched the earth with his hoofs and placed it on the water. Right? So it is very much in context of the prayers because they are praying and then Maitreya adds a point, right, related to that. And Vyasadeva writes it down, right? The purport, the earth was placed on the water by his inconceivable potency. The Lord is all powerful and therefore he can sustain the huge planet Earth, either on the water or in the air, as he likes. But tiny human brain cannot conceive of this. So we can give some brief explanation of the laws by which such phenomena are made possible, but actually the tiny human brain is unable, okay? So Maitreya is saying, again, another verse, Maitreya speaking, Saitam Bhagavana Urvim Vishaksena Prajapati, Rashayam Liyayo Nittam, Apsunyaya Yasohari. In this manner, the personality of Godhead Lord Vishnu, the maintainer of all living entities, raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his own abode. So he's concluding. Maitreya, with his two verses, he's saying what has happened now. Right? He's described what has happened by quoting the prayers of the rishis, and now he concludes this. And he says, therefore, in the manner of the personality of Godhead, the maintainer of all living entities, he raised the earth from within the water, and having placed it afloat on the water, he returned to his abode. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Lord Vishnu now place the earth afloat on the water and he returned to his abode, I thought he should have put the earth in its orbit before returning.
Repeat again, Prabhu. Repeat again. I can hear you. Repeat again.
He's saying that when the Lord lifted the earth and he placed it on the water, wouldn't have been all right if the Lord has put the earth in its orbit?
Yeah, I thought about that, but I don't know. Maybe Lord Brahma does that. Because Lord Brahma, he creates the planetary systems. Lord Brahma, he actually creates the planetary systems based on the Virat Rupa of the Lord. So right at this moment, the problem was the earth was right at the bottom of the Garbhodak ocean. So the Lord picked it up and put it on the surface. And then Lord Brahma will organize it. I can only presume that's the way I can answer that question.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes, Sarika.
Yeah, the last sentence in the purport of this last verse we read, Prabhupada said, neither the Lord himself nor his specific devotees who are on this earth are ordinary living entities like us. So I'm looking at this statement and I'm trying to fathom how to understand when the Lord or his devotees come onto this earth and they go through a whole lot of what seemingly looks as though they are suffering. When we look at the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, or look like the pastimes of personages like Srila Prabhupada as a devotee, these two scenarios, and they look at what they seemingly were going through, it's difficult to understand. So therefore, less intelligent people sometimes consider them to be an historical personality.
It's impossible for the Lord to have suffering in his system because he's Sachitananda. By nature, the Lord has no suffering in his system. Otherwise, it would make no sense for devotees to strive to go back to Godhead. The whole principle of going back to Godhead or reuniting with the Supreme Lord, engaging in his services to end all suffering. Because that spiritual atmosphere is devoid of dualities and pain and pleasures and sufferings and everything. So the Lord is Sachitananda, so there is no question of suffering in his system in any way. And devotees of similar nature to him, those who advanced or completely taken shelter of the Devi Shakti, the Mahatmas, they similarly have no suffering because they are of that same nature.
So therefore, sometimes someone will say that the pure devotees does not suffer. And how do we realize, how do you explain this? Because
if there's apparent suffering of the body of the devotee, is simply because he wants to teach us lessons. And he also wants to see that
feel those pain, or they just they realize what is going on internally. They're just like an actor is acting in such a way. Is it something like that?
Well, I think if you realize it in a sense that the pure devotee, he may be seen to be suffering, but he's not affected by the suffering. He may be seen to be suffering, but he's not affected.
It's just that he's not affected by it.
Not affected by the suffering. So if you're not affected by the suffering, then where is the suffering?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah, in the same vein, please, could you explain more to us the context in which the Prabhupada is talking here? I could see the Prabhupada is putting himself in our nature, whereas we see him as transcendental. But it says, neither the Lord himself nor his specific devotees who come to this earth are ordinary living entities like us. Meaning he is including himself here, but in the whole of ISKCON, everybody knows Prabhupada is transcendental.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada always include himself with everyone else. And sometimes Prabhupada used a humble us or the humble we. He said we. Prabhupada will say that's a humble we or the humble us.
Yeah, what does he want us to? What does he want to
include himself? He include himself with all of us conditioned souls. But that is his purity, that is his humility, and that is his magnanimity. Yeah, he just does that all the time. Like Prabhupada at one point was crying to his disciples and he said, I'm so grateful to you that you come to help me in the mission of my spiritual master. And he was tearful, he was crying. But he has been able to summon the energy of the Lord to support his movement and to send all these people because of his pure presence as a Mahatma, as a great soul, one who's taken shelter of the divine energy of the Supreme Lord and the spiritual potency of God. So therefore Krishna has obligingly come and arrange everything for his success. Right? So it is confirmed that a pure devotee who constantly engages in the loving service of the Lord is awarded all knowledge necessary to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sometimes the people who are asked, devotees would ask, I'm reading the purport 49. Is that okay? Yeah? So he says that
we jump 48.
Oh, we jumped to 48. Oh. Purport 48?
We didn't do 48 at all. We finished with 47 before.
Okay.
You were on 48 when I asked the question.
Oh, I was looking similar passage in 49, in 50, I got confused. If one hears, so 48, if one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude, this auspicious narration of Lord Bo, which is worthy of description, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very pleased. So this is now, this is Falastuti. It's Falastuti 46, 47, 40, which is, first it describes that the Lord returning to his abode, which is the 2 verses spoken by Lord Maitreya Rishi. And then in the text 48, now it describes what happens if we hear. So Falastuti means prayers stating the benefits of hearing such a pastime. And at the end of most of this pastime, there's a Falastuti. So this verse 48 is Phala. Phala means fruit, the result or the fruit. So what is the result and the fruit of us having studied the Varaha Lila? Here it is. If one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Bo, which is worthy of description, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very pleased. So by hearing this in the Katha of Lord Varaha, then the Lord is very pleased within our heart. Okay? And in his various incarnations, the Lord appears, acts, and leaves behind him a narrative story, which is transcendental as he is himself. So this is a transcendental narrative, transcendental katha. Every one of us is fond of hearing some wonderful narration, but most stories are neither auspicious nor worth hearing because they are inferior quality of material nature. Every living entity is of superior quality, spirit, and nothing material can be auspicious for him. So intelligent persons should therefore hear personally and cause others to hear the descriptive narratives of Lord's activities, for that will destroy the pangs of material existence. Out of his causeless mercies, the Lord comes to be served and leaves behind his merciful activities, so that the devotees may derive transcendental benefit. So as we answered the question that was raised by Salika in the beginning, he does his pastime, so these activities and narratives are there for our purification and benefit. And he does his wonderful activities. Okay, so that's a result of hearing it, that the Lord is satisfied with us. So text 49. Tashmin prashante shakalasisam prabho kim durlabam tadir bharavalatmabhi ananya drishtya bhajatang guhasaya swayam vidate swagatim param param padam param. Nothing remains unachieved when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with everyone. So this is Phalastuti again. So we hear this katha, the Lord is pleased. And what is it not possible to obtain now? That if the Lord is pleased with someone, then we can achieve anything. By transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be significant. So we can achieve transcendental. We ask the Supreme Lord, my dear Lord, if you're pleased with us, give us your transcendental devotional service in our heart and purify us. So by transcendental achievement, one understands everything else to be insignificant. One who engages in transcendental loving service is elevated to the highest perfectional stage by the Lord himself, who is seated in everyone's heart. So by engaging in transcendental service, by hearing his katha, right, we reach the highest perfectional state. This is Phalastuti. Phala, P-H-A-L-A, and Phala Shruti, S-R-U-T-I, Shruti. Statements that describe the fruit of hearing. Okay?
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, please, I want you to clarify this for us. We know the Lord forms are eternal.
Pardon?
But we know and learn the Lord's forms are eternal. The Lord's forms are eternal.
Okay.
Not so.
Okay.
Yes, but the manifested forms he uses on occasions like this, as he came as Lord Boa. Now, at the end of the text 47, he says he returned to his abode. We saw that of Lord Shingadev, Lord Kurma, Masya.
Okay, I get the question.
Yes. In the spiritual world, do this form exist in this way, or they are eternalized in the material world?
These forms, according to the description of the meaning of incarnation, which is in the purport of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 7, in the purport, Prabhupada, he describes what is an incarnation, and therefore we can read that and you will see. And some part of it is there. Is text 8. And in the middle of the purport, he says, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Bhagavad Gita review, it says, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishna's Kaviraj, the following verses summarize these principles of incarnation. So in Madhya Lila, chapter 20, there's 2 verses describe the principle of these incarnations. And this you can refer to Bhagavad Gita. If you have Bhagavad Gita, open your Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 8. You must have Gita next to you all the time.
Yes.
Good students always have Gita next to them all the time. Mine is all torn, you see? So there it is. So here it is said, Srishti Hetu, go down. Okay, there. Srishti Hetu ye murti pramancha avatare, say Ishvara murti avatarana madhare, mayatita paravyame savaravasthan, Vishwe avataradhari avataranam. The avatar incarnation descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. That's the meaning of incarnation. It's not that it comes into being in the material world. No. The avatar or incarnation of Godhead descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of the personality of Godhead, who so descends, called incarnation or avatar. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God, when they descend to the material creation, they assume the name Avatar. And there are various kinds of avatar: Purusha avatar, Guna avatar, Lila avatar, Sakyavesh avatar, Manvantara avatar. So these are all situated in the spiritual world, and they come down. So Lord Varaha is situated in Varahalok. Lord Nrsimha is situated in Nrsimhalok. When they come down, they are considered to be incarnation.
Okay, in the case of Prahlad Maharaj is well known for remembrance of the Lord. So my question is, before the manifestation of the form of Lord Nrsimhadev, is that the form he remembers the Lord all the time?
He remembered as Lord Vishnu. In the Lila, he's remembered as Lord Vishnu. He's praying to the Lord Vishnu.
Okay.
And to make the Lila more spicy, he didn't know when he saw, but he realized it is the same Lord that has appeared. His Aradhya, his worshipful Lord, is Lord Vishnu in his heart. But when he sees Lord Nrsimhadev, he sees my Lord has appeared in this form. But does that mean that the Lord has appeared now in that particular time and place? That is a date of his incarnation or appearance. No, he's existed always in this form. It's hard to reconcile the two, but that's the meaning of incarnation.
Very
okay,
wonderful.
we move on. I have a few minutes left. Text 49. Nothing remains unachieved. We done that. Text 50. Ko nama loke purushartha saravit puralo kathanam bhagavat katha yusudham apiya karnanjalibhir pravapaha aho virajyet vinanaretaram. Who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world and not be interested in the ultimate goal of life? So this is again Phalastuti. If you're an animal, you're not interested. So who other than one who is not a human being can exist in this world and not be interested? So if you're a human being, you have to be interested in the narrative of the beautiful nectarine pastime of the Supreme Lord. Who can refuse the nectar of narration about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which by itself can deliver one from the pangs of material life? So by hearing this katha, okay, one can be liberated from birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita, which verse states that? By properly understanding the birth, pastimes, and activities of the Lord, one attains the kingdom of God.
There are many verses.
4:9.
4:9. Yes. You know it? 4:9?
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's amazing.
Janma karma chame divyam.
Yeah.
Evam yu vetita toi dia puna jarma naitimam so ajna.
Yeah. One who understands transcendental birth and activities and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not take birth in this world again. He rather comes to me, Krishna says. So this is why we are understanding these pastimes in this way. Okay, I have to leave. So we finished on time, and tomorrow we're going to carry on chapter.
Okay, then probably I have a question. I will reserve it for tomorrow.
No, you can ask the question now.
Over the line, it was explained that Lord Varaha appeared in the bluish form, but you said actually it was a reddish form. So I want you to explain to us the meanings and the manifestations of these colors, the bluish and the red.
I know that the Lord appears in 5 colors. It's either white, blue, or black, which is sometimes considered to be blue-black, and yellow, and red, and green. So there may be some confusion about Lord Varaha appearing in different manvantaras, and because sometimes you see some pictures of Lord Varaha. I'm talking about the pictures. The descriptions are always more accurate. But sometimes I see the pictures of Lord Varaha as being red. And I also found some pictures of him being gray, which is blue-black or black or blue. So it's a bit confusing for me too, because I know that this Varaha here is considered Nila Varaha, but the pictures of him fighting with Varaha, with Hiranyakashipu, with Hiranyaksha, he looks red. So I was confused to answer precisely about this. But what we just read is pastimes of Nila Varaha. Nila means blue. Pastimes of Nila Varaha. Between 34 and 45, we read the pastimes of the Lord as Nila Varaha in the Swayambhuva Kalpa. So if there are some discrepancies in that understanding, then that could be a confusion due to timelines or manvantaras or kalpas being mixed in the narration of the acharyas.
But please, do these scholars depict some particularity in meaning?
I don't know. No, but because Yuga Avatar seems to have certain colors specified in Shastra. Yuga Avatar seems to have colors specified in Shastra. Right? Like the fish avatar is considered golden, supposed to be the golden color. And Kurma also golden color. So does the Yuga Avatar and the Leela avatars all take the specificity of the colors? I'm not sure, but what I'm going to do, Prabhu, is I'm going to look into this because it describes the specifics of colors and everything of avatar. I'm going to go into the, and I try to hopefully get the information by tomorrow for you.
Okay.
Which is Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Here, for example, you will describe that Narvaraha has a residence on Maharlok, as half man and half boar. So in understanding these pastimes, we are only looking at the tip of the iceberg. So, for example, even the Matsya avatar lives in a lake situated in Bhadirnath. Matsya, and it is considered to be. So understanding these there are different levels of existence. And sometimes there are spiritual planets or spiritual areas or regions, just like Svetadvipa, Lord Vishnu. It's in the material creation, but he is living there. So there is, for example, a residence of Narvaraha, 3 million yojanas in circumference, and it is said to be on Maharlok. So, yeah, so then there's all these abodes and descriptions. So like I can read something. Known as Varahalok, this self-effulgent attractive world sits below all the other planets and touches the shell of the universe. Here, the Supreme Lord has taken a precedence in his white Varaha form. So, Sweta Varaha. So, here we are really touching the tip of the iceberg, Prabhu. So much more.
Interesting.
This is Rupa Goswami's explanation, where then above Brahmalok shines the planet of Lord Hari, and so on. And it just, then there is a residence of Dhruvalok, which is all so completely spiritual planets situated in the material world. So I hope I've confused you enough and get away from answering the question.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes, when I looked at some of our scriptures, I become so greedy, but the strength is not there. Because when you look at the depth of knowledge that is in our Vaishnavas Sampradaya, it's so much. When you look at the Sandarbhas, I can't even finish reading one. And when you look at Rupa Goswami's books, it's amazing, so much depth of knowledge. I don't know, maybe we have to take bet again and start from from a younger age. Maybe we might be able to go deeper.
Because Laghu Bhagavatamrita describes all the varieties of incarnations. He derives the Leela avatars, the Manvantara avatars, and their abode and residences, and so on and so forth. But like, for example, Lord Varaha is a Leela avatar.
Yeah, everything is there.
Yeah, everything is there. So yes,
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying, it's impossible. I mean, I'm just a very simple person. I don't know how much can I grab it. The informations are there, but you have to go through it and find out.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
For a soul to rise up to this level, how fortunate are they? Because comparing ourselves to all the other living entities, grass, fishes, birds, and all those things, in fact, the fortune seems to be unimaginable.
Yes. Because we are hearing about the pastimes of Lord Varaha. Who can ever imagine the pastimes of Lord Varaha? Yes.
Nice, so much.
All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Pancha Kalpatarvyasya Kripasi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare.
Praise Advaita Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Yeah.
Jai.
More glorious assembly.